My dad always used to tell me the best tool for the job is one that is designed for the job. And he was big on telling me not to employ a tool improperly for the job at hand, or otherwise you can damage it, or you'll damage the fastener or the object that you're trying to work on. On the table, of course, is a selection of common hand tools. How many of you dudes watching this video, or dudettes, carry this type of selection on your person day in, day out? Okay, I think probably very, very few, unless you're a tradesman of some sort, maybe in construction, an electrician, someone who is using these tools frequently. It is very rare indeed you'll have access to this type of selection on the table. And this is just a smattering of tools from the Nutnfancy toolkit. I could just put, tens of pounds of tools on the table, each one having a specific application for the job at hand. And whenever possible, that is exactly the tool I reach for. For instance, if I'm wire stripping, this is one of my favorites. It's just very simple, it's pretty inexpensive, but man, does it do a great job of wire stripping cleanly. Yeah, I know there's more advanced models out there, but this works for me. However, how are we to carry all these capabilities with us day in and day out? Or can we? Is there any way that we can approximate the capabilities of the tools on the table in the palm of our hand? Yes, and you know where I'm going with this, and it's called the multi-tool. Just by way of example, and just because it's handy, here is a Victorinox Swiss tool. I'll do a separate tabletop review on this, but this isn't really about a specific multi-tool, dudes. What I'm going to discuss here are my original thoughts on how to categorize and address the evaluation of these MTs, as I call them, or multi-tools, in a very systematic fashion. And it's what I want to do in the Nutnfancy project. I think there is confusion on the subject. There is confusion and probably unnecessary debate in several quarters in regards to multi-tools. And I will discuss that, or attempt to discuss that, as I always do, speaking unscripted, just off the top of my head, talking about these things, multi-tools. What is interesting about a multi-tool is it does combine the capabilities of the tools you see on the table into a very ingenious and elegant design. And the way I think of it is there's kind of an arms race going on. Not with guns, not with missiles, not with tanks. Well, maybe some of those too. But there's an arms race between the multi-tool manufacturers. And it is a joy to behold. Because what the engineers are attempting to do in the most elegant, compact, and lightweight form is to, as closely as possible, approximate the capabilities of these tools on the table. One of their toughest design criteria is how to address the pliers, for instance. And this is just an aside. I'm going to get to the crux of the video here. But notice that we're looking at a Leatherman Super Tool 300 now. Also will be reviewed by Nutnfancy in the project. What a great MT this is. Also the Swiss tool. I'm not really going to play favorites. They're all good in their own way, and I discuss as much in my tabletop reviews. But the pliers, as a study and function, are going to be a compromise between the pliers you see on the table. So we have some vice grips, we have regular size pliers, maybe some needle nose, maybe precision needle nose pliers, and maybe the larger one, electrician style of pliers. I love these, those big, wide, flat jaws, very powerful wire cutters included in those. So as a multi-tool designer, it is a compromise, and I have to ask myself which of these capabilities, between just the pliers I've shown you, do I include. And here's some flat jaw pliers. If you want to hold something for grinding, excellent. See how they close? Parallel jaws, awesome. There's really no multi-tool pliers out there that have that capability yet. They just might. But everything in a multi-tool is going to be a compromise. That's the first tenet that I want you guys to understand, at least when I do a multi-tool review. It cannot and will not have all the same capabilities of the full-size, purpose-built tool. It just can't. But they often come close. I mean, looking at the Super Tool 300 pliers, you can see it blends the capabilities of sharp nose pliers, the bolt grabbing capabilities of regular pliers, as you see here, replaceable carbide cutters, or bolt cutters there, just like those electrician pliers. Pretty cool. But it is a compromise, and you can't get everything in one tool head. So I think of it as an arms race, where ingenuity and compact form combine to make a very useful tool for the prepared individual. And the designs just keep getting better. If we go back to one of Tim Leatherman's original designs, the Leatherman Pocket Survival Tool, I think it was called. And by the way, this is mine. I purchased it in 1992. I still have it. This was groundbreaking because for the first time ever, someone came out with a concept of shrinking these capabilities and putting it into a pocket size, lightweight tool. As you can see, we've come a long ways, baby. I mean, those are one of the original Leatherman plier designs. It has a file in it, which I've used, as you can see. Basic tools. I want to get bogged down in all the details. A blade, very lightweight and compact. A great first start in a multi-tool. Revolutionary, really, because in some small way, we are carrying with us these same capabilities. So I do think of it kind of as an arms race, where designers are doing their best to come out with innovative, compact, and interesting form factors that are extremely useful in a wide variety of tasks, which I hope to talk to here in just a second. When we talk about multi-tools, though, at least according to me, Nutnfancy, the designer has to be true to the principles of utility and capability in a compact form. Okay, if we suddenly abandon the compactness requirement and the weight requirement in a multi-tool or MT, in a lot of ways, I think we throw its charm out the window. And its charm is that it's compact, that it's lightweight, that it can fit in places where all these other tools cannot. And that when the chips are down, when we need something that really needs fixing, maybe we've come upon an emergency scene, this enables us to be useful in that situation. Kind of like mobility. So we're siding on the equation of mobility anytime we're talking about a multi-tool. If we weren't, then we're going to be packing all this stuff, right? If we don't care about weight, we don't care about bulk, why don't we just bring a purpose-built toolkit and we have it in our truck, our snowmobile, and if you're crazy, on your back while you're backpacking. Very few people do that. I'll tell you that right now. They just don't. But designers have to be true to those principles for a multi-tool to be useful, according to me. You know, your mileage may vary. But what makes it interesting, what makes it engaging, and that is the study, maybe the collecting, the use of MTs, is watching these capabilities evolve and become better and become more capable in a very compact form factor. Okay, and one of the best ones out there in the world today, 2009, is the very one you're looking at, according to me, the Leatherman Charge. Why is that? Why do I say that? And I've said it on other videos. Another purpose for this video is to explain my reasoning, my rationale for my MT evaluations. And I think they're well reasoned. I think they're logical. Hang with me. And I'm going to start off on another side of the spectrum. If we are very weight constrained, if we are very space constrained, or perhaps our work environment in no way is conducive to having these types of tools, maybe even this big of a tool, which is quite possible depending on who you are, then you might have to go with a very compact, what I'm going to call an ultralight MT. Okay, an ultralight MT. And that is my first category I'm introducing, and that is going to be 2 ounces or under. This, of course, is the outstanding Squirt P4, and also a Leatherman product. There's others out there. Gerber makes a couple that are interesting. I think I reviewed the Gerber clutch. That's just over the 2 ounce mark. But these are subcompact ultralight MTs. Okay, do they approximate the capabilities of this pair of pliers? Heavens no. There's no way they can. We're talking about physics. But for light duty tasks that might need a plier capability, maybe removing fish hooks from a fish's mouth, and this is one that I've used for many years. This is a mini Bear Jaws multi-tool. It's not a super high quality one, but it's very light, very compact, and I've used these as fishing pliers many a trek because they're light, they're compact, they're They're where I needed them when I needed them. You know, there's no way I'm packing these up. Maybe not even this. I mean, this is an 8.5 ounce multi-tool, but this is 2 ounces. And it packs a lot of capabilities, just like I said in my tabletop review on the Squirt P4. I mean, we have driving capabilities for fasteners, both slot and Phillips. We have a file, a blade, of course. Again, I don't want to get bogged down in all the features of each MT. And then a punch. Amazing. So it kind of approximates this capability, the awl or the punch. Excellent. But you're going to be limited. When we're talking about an ultralight MT, we are not going to have a ton of capability. And we have to decide, and here comes another foundational concept I want you guys to understand about Nutnfancy. We have to understand what is important to the user. We will never agree completely on what is the best multi-tool. It is impossible. You have to understand that. Why is that? Because everybody's needs are so diverse. You know, we're talking about soldiers, mechanics, computer techs, farmers, paramedics, doctors, civilians, and all sorts of jobs. And every one of those individuals will probably need one tool over another tool repetitively. You know, it might be the cutter. Maybe you are, I don't know, working on carpet or something, and you use a cutter all the time. You're a carpet layer. Okay, if you're a mechanic, you know, you might be using the strong pliers a lot. It depends. And that is how you're going to slew your perspective towards the MT. When we start out in the ultralight category, we are going to make some decisions right off the bat as an individual of which capabilities out in our tool set are most desirable for us and for our philosophy of use. You with me so far? So when we've done that, then we can say, okay, you know what? I don't need a corkscrew. I don't need scissors. I'll tell you what, though, I sure would like a file for what I do day to day, especially if I can get it in a 2 ounce form factor. Amazing. What a great little multi-tool it is. And Leatherman has repeatedly set the bar in capabilities for multi-tools, and they did it again with this one. And I think it sets a standard so far in the ultralight multi-tool category. Will that change? I sure hope it does. I hope that technology keeps advancing, materials keep advancing, so where we get the ability of a 2009 Victorinox Swiss tool, perhaps, I think it would be impossible to get it in 2 ounces, but you never know about materials. What's going to happen? What new metals are on the horizon? Don't know. It's kind of cool. Again, it's an arms race, and every manufacturer, to include this one right here, is doing their best to attract you as a customer, as a prepared individual, with their multi-tool and their tool sets. Ultralight category, of course, 2 ounces or under. Before I leave the ultralight duty category of multi-tools, let me ask a question. How many people do you know carry a multi-tool of this size on their person? Okay, I don't know about you, but I know very, very few. I transit a lot of different folks too. Not just military, law enforcement types, all kinds of individuals and all types of occupations, which I know personally. And I often ask the question, you know, when we start talking about knives and things of that nature, dude, do you have an MT on you? And almost invariably the answer is no, they do not. I know a couple of, you know, dudes that do. And when they do, it's going to be like this. It's going to be an ultralight duty multi-tool. That's better than nothing. And I will say, here comes another foundational concept from Nutnfancy as we go up in categories of multi-tools. In other words, I'm going to introduce my other ones according to weight here. As we go with some key examples of each, you will find the number of people carrying MTs in each of those larger and heavier categories becomes slimmer still and less populated. You know, people just don't do it, especially if they're carrying their cell phone, they're carrying maybe a concealed gun of some sort, maybe a knife. Very few will allocate space on their person, weight on their person to carry an MT. Ultralight category, ultralight duty multi-tool represented just in this video by the P4 Squirt Leatherman, 2 ounces or under. That brings us to one of the most interesting and useful multi-tool categories. And again, these are my categories, dudes. It's my show, so I can make my categories. And these are going to play to how I evaluate MTs. And I'm going to make reference to this foundational video probably in every multi-tool review I do in the future. The next one up, light, 2 ounces to 5 ounces. My poster child for this multi-tool category is one I've mentioned several times. And yes, I still carry a fanny pack. If you don't like it, get over it, deal with it. I recommend you do the same unless you have the same capabilities I do in another way. You know, in your pants, cargo pants, I don't know. All I know is I pretty much blow away everybody I meet in preparation, and it's largely in part to this system of carry, the fanny pack. By the way, I did a video on that, Everyday Carry by Nutnfancy. I'll annotate it there. Bam! There it is. The S2 Juice, my favorite light duty multi-tool. Okay, and that's the category, 2 to 5 ounces. This one right here, if I'm not mistaken, without sheath, 4.4 ounces. And I hope I said the name right. If I didn't, S2 Juice by Leatherman. It is a light duty multi-tool. And over that P4, we have more capabilities. As we move up in size, as we move up maybe in bulk, we're going to more closely approximate what's on the table, right? We're not going to achieve it. It's still going to be a vast compromise. But now look at our plier set that we have. Okay, again, the designer is amalgamating, I don't even know what that word means, but I'm going to use it, different pliers into this one. Okay, so it's kind of a hybrid set of pliers. And again, it just depends on the individual of what the most important tool in that multi-tool will be. For many, it will be the pliers, and they look to the pliers and say, well, I like them or I don't like them, and this is why I don't like them. You know, maybe they'll discuss the wire capabilities, you know, the jaws grasping, because for what they do day in, day out, that is their most useful tool. Others are different. And again, we've got to be understanding with one another because all of our tasks are so different. Others will say, well, you know what, I use the scissors most often. You know, as a medical technician of some sort, as a doctor, as a off-duty paramedic, you know, maybe I want that. You know, a cap lifter. I don't know, if you drink and brews with the bros. Maybe that's your most important tool set in there. I don't know. Just depends who you are. We have driving capabilities in the Leatherman S2 Juice, of course. But again, a compromise. For a light-duty multi-tool, and again, if you want to see the specifics on this, look up my review. But for a light-duty reference multi-tool, 2009, this is a very, very hard multi-tool to beat. Why? Because it adhered to the concepts of, one, design elegance. And when I say that, I mean it's compact. It's easy to carry. It doesn't, you know, weigh you down. 4.4 ounces for the capabilities contained herein is very, very reasonable. Will it get better as time goes on? I hope so. Again, I hope so. But, you know, what we lack in here, you know, in the light duty category of Nutnfancy's multi-tool categories is, you know, we don't have a saw, we don't have a file, we don't have a wide selection of drivers. Okay, but unlike a lot of MTs, we do have those scissors, and I don't know about you, for what I do in my task at hand, I like having those scissors. And for a light-duty multi-tool, these are amazing scissors, and I said that in my review. How big and capable they are, nicely done. The light-duty, though, is going to add a little bit of weight to your loadout, but it's going to add capabilities as well. Okay, dudes, that will take us to the most hotly contested of all categories, at least as I see it, and that's going to be the medium duty category, and I classify that 5 to 10 ounces. Okay, and interestingly, why do I say, or why do I concentrate on weight? Well, because that is easily quantifiable. You know, for us to quantify the size and form factor of each multi-tool, at least for me in my reviews, it's going to be more difficult. Weight is an easily quantifiable quantity. How many ounces is it? And it's an easy way to, you know, maybe pit one multi-tool up against another. And I think in order to be fair in the evaluation, you probably ought to do it in category or to maybe perhaps adjacent categories. Let me explain. Here again, the Charge AL, awesome multi-tool. However, it does come with a bit set. Okay, and in my evaluations, at least the way I'm thinking now, subject to change, I'm always reserve the option to change the way I'm thinking. But right now, I just include the weight of 8.4 ounces in my categorization of this MT, medium duty multi-tool. If I were to put it in the sheath and of course include a bit set or maybe an extra one, which I do with several of my other MTs, then that will transition it into a higher category, specifically the heavy duty multi-tool category, which is 10 ounces or more. For simplicity and for ease of comparison, generally speaking, I may vary on this. I'm going to consider just the naked weight of the multi-tool. And this is a hotly contested category. By the way, when I stopped the vid, I went and got a file. Why is that? Because I think it needs to be represented as we talk about these capabilities, that are incorporated into these awesome MTs. The Charge is, again, my reference in category. For lots and lots of reasons. First off, the weight. The weight is reasonable. It's not super lightweight, but we can't get something for nothing when we transition out of the light duty category into medium. A couple ounces got to come with us, but look at what we get in return. For instance, in this multi-tool, again, I don't want to get bogged down with a feature set on each one. You get a file, of 2 different coarseness levels. You get a diamond file one side, a regular file another, all the way to the end. Again, if you want to see the features on this, look up my review on it. Get several knife blades. And this will get, again, to what I've referred to, and I just said a little while ago, design elegance. Okay? And look at how the Charge does it, that we are easily accessing those very important and often used tools from the exterior without even opening up the tool. Awesome. Here we have an emergency cutter. Along with the extra ounces, and as we've progressed to the medium category of multi-tools, I like to think that we are starting to incorporate life-saving or emergency rescue capabilities with this. You can see that the blade, of course, is not, pointed, so we can actually do a rescue cut under a seat belt. Not that that's a frequent thing, it's not. But maybe it is frequent as a river runner, cutting ropes of some sort of description, or as a fisherman to get in the way, and that is a great efficient cutter in that POU. Okay, but all these tools are accessible from the outside, and it sets the bar in a lot of different ways for the medium category. But I will say, and it's a great thing, that the Leatherman Charge has some very awesome competition. One of them is the Victorinox Swiss Tool Spirit. Y'all get around to the tabletop, be patient, it's coming. And I have it here somewhere, here it is, in sheath. And again, if we're going to be honest to the category, I have to look at the MT itself. If I'm going to include everything like the wrench and all the bits that come with the Swiss Tool Spirit, this is going to be in the heavy category, but I don't. What I'm going to consider is the tool itself, because this is what most people are going to carry and use. Maybe they'll carry the whole thing, but I think most of them are just going to use the MT just like this. Against the Charge, very capable. And just like the Charge, they got it right. A lot of these tools are accessible from the exterior. And again, there's a lot of user preference that comes into this, guys, in the multi-tool continuum. It just depends. And this is one way it beats the Charge. Look at that. Has the all on it. Why the Charge doesn't include that, I don't know. Thankfully, most of the Swiss tools do, and that's excellent. I think most users will find that a useful accessory, as I've said in my previous MT reviews, no doubt. Then we have a Chisel Tip there, tool, wire stripper, excellent. Don't want to get bogged down in the features. But look at this, and this again gets to the design capabilities of a medium category multi-tool, the longer shank driver. Okay, as we go up in size and weight, nowadays and with current designs, we are more closely approximating the longer shaft, in this case, of a Phillips Bit Driver. And that is advantageous. There's a lot of times when you need the reach of that driver bit to get to the place where you're going. You're working on a car, you're working on a TV set, a computer. It's quite possible that the driver bit of a Charge series just is not long enough. Compromises. Every multi-tool has them, and it's my job as a reviewer to honestly identify them, to quantify them as best I can, maybe comparatively against the competition, and lay the cards on the table so you as the buyer can look and go, you know what, that's really not important to me. However, that really is important to me. Having a stubby little driver as a computer technician won't work for me And so maybe, I don't know, in this specific example, I would opt for the Swiss Tool Spirit. So I think in the medium duty multi-tool category by me, Nutnfancy, it is reasonable to expect more capabilities from the tools you see on the table. We have a file capability with the Swiss Tool Spirit. Again, this is just an example. Actually, let me throw another one in there just so you don't think I'm promoting or demoting one multi-tool over another. What will I use? What will I use as my reference multi-tool? Oh, here's one. How about we roll in a Gerber Flick medium category, that is medium duty category by Nutnfancy of multi-tools. Another great representation. I love this, that Gerber is finally cluing in and putting their tools accessible, at least the most frequently accessed tools, on the exterior. Just like the Swiss Tool Spirit, just like the Leatherman Charge. Again, this is an arms race. What they're trying to do is to match and surpass each other in terms of function, capabilities, and attractiveness, truth be told, to you, the buyer, the prepared individual that's going to spend their hard-earned money. But the Flick, very representative of category, wouldn't you think? Scissors included, nicely done. Again, I'm not going to get bogged down in the features. Serrated cutting blade, you just saw that. Saw, and then we have quick deploying plier head. Okay, again, it's going to be an approximation of the tools you see here, but a big advance, in my opinion, in the Gerber multi-tool arena. A lot of them were not accessible from the exterior to include the diesel and maybe the 400, 800 series. Nice job here. Now, is it safe to say that in the medium category, we have improved our capabilities? Okay, and again, this is just a representative tool. Yes, definitely. Let's bring back the Charge. It's a reference tool for me, Nutnfancy, for a reason, and that's because it has so many capabilities. Or maybe I should bring back something else. Where did my Charge go? There it is. Look at what we gained by the extra weight. File capability, multiple driving capabilities. I already mentioned the shortness of the driver bit holder in the Charge. That is a disadvantage. But, you know, the designer of this multi-tool got it right on so many levels. There's got to be some give with something. And in this case, we're not going to have a huge driver bit. And they don't lock. In other words, the bits can come out. That might be a disadvantage according to your point of view and the kinds of things that you're doing. If you're using your driver bit all the time, maybe flat blade, Phillips, it might be annoying if your particular type of fastener is always pulling the driver bit out. In that case, you may not prefer a Charge. Maybe you want, I don't know, a Leatherman super tool. We'll get to that. Or perhaps a Victorinox, upping into a different category so you have more capabilities. But remember, we're talking about the medium duty category here by Nutnfancy, and it's going to be 5 to 10 ounces. Incidentally, since we're talking about it, and again, I don't want to just keep trumping the Charge, but in so many design arenas or areas, it gets it right. Although it is shorter, a little bit stubbier, this bit holder, and also it doesn't lock, it opens up and expands all kinds of capabilities to the multi-tool user. And it adds functionality that Flick does not. Going to the tool or the extra bit package from Leatherman, look at all these bits, which are pretty much milled in compact three-dimensional form factors so you can carry them easily with you. Look at the myriad of options that are opened up to you as a prepared individual if you carry a Leatherman Charge, also the Wave, and other Leatherman multi-tools. Excellent. It is a compromise. I'm not going to say it isn't. I mean, because of the limitations, maybe a few drawbacks depending on your point of view of that bit holder, but at least you got them. And alternately, you know, if you don't approach that design element, in other words, having a removable bit holder, what you're going to do is add weight and bulk to your multi-tool as you establish and have dedicated bit drivers. Okay, and that will take us to the heavy-duty multi-tool category. And I'm sorry if I didn't show lots of details. Just look to the tabletops. They'll be coming when I get time. But the heavy-duty category of the multi-tool is going to be 10 ounces or over. Again, I'm just considering the multi-tool weight itself. talking about the bit drivers. We're looking at the Leatherman Super Tool 300, which I think is outstanding. Okay, and if we look inside the multi-tool 300, I'm sorry, the Super Tool 300, now you can see what I'm talking about. We don't have a removable bit holder. What we have, though, are dedicated hollow ground drivers in our tool sets. Longer shafts, more reach, more capabilities. They won't be slipping out. If it's something that in your POU you're accessing frequently, you'll love it. You have the two different flat blades of drivers. We have a long shank Phillips, just one size. Again, we're making compromises. You say, well, why don't I have multiple sizes? Well, you're going to add another 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch of width. You're going to add a couple extra ounces. And we depart from that compact form factor that is the basis of the charm and usefulness for any multi-tool. Okay, as a designer of an MT, I'm juggling. I'm deciding what's most important to my users. I'm integrating it in the best way I possibly can to closely approximate the capabilities on the table. In this case, the ST300, Super Tool 300, has one Phillips driver. But look at the length of the shaft. It's more reach and capability. But in order to get it, we've moved up to a 10-ounce weight, specifically about 10.5 ounces for the Super Tool 300. Okay? And of course, other tool sets in there as well. We'll talk about that in the tabletop review. You have a file, you have a saw, capabilities that you seldom see in the medium category. Sometimes you do, sometimes you do. The Charge sure has them. There's other MTs that have them as well. Gerbers, SOGs. There's a SOG power lock. I'm not even going to break that open. I'll have to do the review on that again sometime. Heavy duty category though. Another competitor in this, of course, previously seen the Victorinox Swiss tool. Okay? And a lot of people's minds of the Rolls Royce of MTs. For lots of good reasons. I'll talk about it on the tabletop when I do it. Long driver shafts. There's the Phillips driver. All kinds of blades. Accessed, of course, from the exterior of the tool. There's a rescue cutting blade. That's probably what this specific model stands for, the RS. Nice polished, high quality finish, nice fit and finish throughout the multi-tool. Yeah, it shows fingerprints. I don't think most guys care. Very precise. One thing I haven't discussed yet in the multi-tool continuum, and that is, let me wipe this down so it's not so nasty looking, that is the second type of cool. Okay, all I've been concentrating on is so far in the multi-tool continuum is capabilities for weight, size, form factor. But in some people's minds, multi-tools in and of themselves are amazing studies in man's ingenuity. And for lots of reasons, they collect them. If you get into the second type of cool, these Victorinoxes will pretty much reign supreme. The fit and finish, again, just superb. Swiss quality throughout. Amazing approach to the multi-tool dilemma. And that's what it is. Again, approximating what we got here. There's your scissors, all kinds of things. And then a very strong set of pliers. Okay, I'm not going to go over every feature here. We're just talking about philosophy here in the multi-tool arena. Bigger though. Now, since we've progressed all the way from the ultralight category, where did that squirt go? There it is. We've progressed all the way from the ultralight multi-tool category, 2 ounces or under, into the heavy duty category, 10 or more ounces. According to me, Nutnfancy, look at what we've gained in capability. Looking at the pliers, heavier duty, more hard wire cutting capability, more ability to, I don't know, take off nuts and bolts and do all the tasks, not all of them, but most of the tasks that these tools on the table represent. Okay, and in order to do it, we're carrying more weight with us. Firepower versus mobility. As a user, define which tool sets will suit your needs best, and then very accurately define to yourself how much weight am I willing to carry day to day in my job, in my personal life, to have a multi-tool capability. If you are looking for a gift for one of your dudes or dudettes, someone who is a prepared individual that you know, you cannot go wrong by buying them a multi-tool. And there's something cool about having it on your person. Okay, and I'm going to wrap this up by saying this. The multi-tool is independence in your hand. It is a capability to handle all types of jobs as they come your way. Some might be very critical in nature. Again, they might go into the realm of emergency services. If you have a multi-tool that gets it right through elegant design, compact form factor, a reasonable weight, you probably will have it on your person when you need it most. I can't tell you all the times that I've experienced saving the day, I will say, with an MT that I had on my person. No one else had it, I did. Something broke, a fastener had to be undone, wire needed to be cut, rope needed to be cut. Yep, we always have a blade on a multi-tool, right? Saved the day. It's a good feeling, and I've made converts in the process. But again, define what's most important to you. As I evaluate multi-tools, I will try to do in-category evaluations. In other words, when I'm going to do my multi-tool, my review on the Super Tool 300, I will reference the Victorinox Swiss tool because it's in category, okay? 10 ounces or more. I might make reference to adjacent categories, and that will be the medium duty. Where did that Swiss, the Plus go? There it is. I'm sorry, the Spirit. Okay, so that's a fair comparison too. We can compare and contrast. But sometimes I've seen guys get all heated in their discussions as they go out of category and say, well, this is the best multi-tool. You know, this one sucks. I don't like the knife on that one. You know, I like the file on this one. It's wasted energy, dudes, because you cannot define for another what is important to them. Only they can do that. It might be the file. It might be the scissors. It might be the driving capabilities of the multi-tool. And actually, it might be the size and the form factor, and that's generally where I end up going. Because I'm a concealed carry permit holder, because in my duties militarily and other pursuits that I have, I don't carry just a multi-tool. There's a lot of additional equipment that is on my person. So I have to opt for something compact, and generally speaking, I'm going with something in the light duty category, and you're looking at it right here, the S2 Juice. What will you do? Don't know. It's up to you. Are you willing to carry a super tool with you day in, day out, and always have it on your person? You know, talk is cheap, dudes. You know, everybody talks. Oh, you know, this multi-tool is the best. That multi-tool is the best. You know, Victorinox super tool, or I'm sorry, the Victorinox Swiss tool is the best in the world. And then when I ask them and say, dude, do you have it on your person right now? The answer is, nope, I don't. Then what's it matter if it's the best? If you don't have it when you need it, it's empty talk. I mean, I did a MT check on Fitzen. Do you have your Swiss tool? Nope, I don't. Okay, now granted, when I asked that, he was in his shop. So in the shop, you have access to this. So to be honest, that's a fair comparison. But when we're out in the desert, when we're out in the streets, when I'm engaged in my duties, dude, do you have a multi-tool on you? You got a knife on you? Almost always the answer is no. So, multi-tool continuum. We start out with low capabilities, okay, and we end up with higher capabilities, accepting greater bulk and mass and cost in the process. We will never completely achieve, you know, purpose-built tool capabilities. It's just impossible, dudes. It's not fair to expect your multi-tool, at least with current technologies, to be able to do all the things that the tools on the table do to their level. I don't think. Will that change over time? Again, I sure hope so. I think it's fun watching. Okay, they are a study in elegance, they're a study in engineering, and it's just fun watching them get better and better over time. There you have it. That is the multi-tool continuum. We think of multi-tools in category. We pick the tool sets which are most important to us. We respect other people's opinions in the process, because I'll tell you what, just because it's important to you may not make it important to your buddy, to an individual online. You just don't know the job that they're doing. But man, we have a great set to choose from. Multi-tool continuum, Nutnfancy. Hope it helped. It is a foundational video. I will make reference to it as we press along in the Nutnfancy project. Thanks for the good ratings. If you want to go buy a special friend, a family member, a tool, or a gift that will last forever, I've just shown you a lot of great ideas. And MT, that's where it's at. Signing off. We'll see you out.